Good morning, gang. Happy Thursday morning. Oh, Dark 30 here. And I'm awake because I wasn't one of those people who stayed up past my bedtime to waste 2 hours of my life watching something that means absolutely nothing in the annals of history. Last night was the second Republican debate of the wannabes who have no chance of being the nominee. It was kind of funny reading some of the stories this morning about what happened last night. There's no big surprise. You had 7 candidates who, Ron DeSantis being in second place right now, polling a whopping 42% behind Donald Trump. The only thing I can think of is these people are all jockeying for some sort of cabinet position, or maybe this is the vice presidential debate or something of the sort. Who knows? But there's a few of them that have no future. But some have already passed their expiration date. Let's put it that way. But it was kind of funny going through what was talked about last night and just watching some of the clips of the debate in itself, because obviously I'm not going to pay for Fox Nation to watch this waste of time. Bring you back. And one of the most famous debate clips ever was Ronald Reagan and Walter Mondale. And the question about Reagan and his age. And y'all remember this one. He goes, on the question of age, he goes, I'm not going to berate my opponent about his youth and inexperience, right? I'll remember that one, paraphrasing it somehow. And if you notice that one, if you ever watch the clip, Mondale is kind of chuckling in the back. I didn't like Walter Mondale. Most of the country didn't like Walter Mondale. But at least he showed some decorum. At least he showed respect. Can't say that about last night whatsoever. And I know there's people that are going to go off on the mean tweets and that Donald Trump doesn't respect anybody else either, right? Respect is earned. Nobody on that stage last night deserves any respect. Not the candidates, not the moderators, not anybody. That was a freaking free-for-all that looked like an 8th grade food fight in a middle school somewhere. When the big talk about last night, the high points, are arguments over TikTok or arguments over curtains, are what's the important stuff that the news talks about, there was no substance whatsoever to the debates. I get a kick out of all these comments that the candidates were actually making. Well, in my state, we did this. Or, why isn't Trump here to defend his record? Time travel hasn't been invented. I don't care what you did last week, last month, last year. That's past. I want to know what you're going to do in the future. You can say Trump isn't there and he's afraid of defending his record. Chris Christie's the balloon, speaks, let some hot air out of him. Donald Duck, right? Okay. Sorry, Chris, that's about stupid. We call you Porky Pig, I guess. But I don't care about Trump defending his record. His record ended almost 4 years ago. Okay. What happened back then? The world's a completely different place today than it was between 2016 and 2020. I want to know what the people are going to do going forward to fix the economy that Joe destroyed, to fix our standing on the international stage that Joe destroyed. I want to know what they're going to do to fix the problems that we have on the southern border that Joe destroyed. I want to know what they're going to do about the crime rate that Joe has increased like crazy. That wasn't talked about anywhere. I don't care what your past does. Anybody ever bought a mutual fund or something, and the disclaimer on there, past performance is no guarantee of future results? Okay. Again, this goes back into everything that candidates always promise. You have promise season, you have an election, and you have activity season. Everybody promises everything in an election. Nobody seems to deliver. Trump actually did a pretty good job on delivering. Didn't deliver everything, okay? But I'll take delivering 50% of what you promised versus what most politicians deliver, which is zero, okay? Remember Joe's big thing. He was going to be the great unifier. He was going to bring the country back together. Nice promise, Joe. I think we can consider that one an absolute failure. Okay, as I said in yesterday's video, okay, talking about the food bank. I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, East Indian, whatever. The only colors that I care about in this country are red, white, and blue. You're either an American and you support this country, or you're an enemy. That's it, okay? But listening to all these people last night, none of them have a chance of being the nominee, first off, okay? But none of them said what they would do. We're preppers. What do we do? What is our entire focus on? Our entire focus is on solutions to a problem. Gee, food prices are going up. Gee, food shortages are out there. What do? We grow food. We raise livestock. We can food. We dehydrate food. We freeze dry food, right? Okay. We come up with a solution. Gee, we're worried about a world war, a civil war, protecting ourselves from criminal thugs, whatever it would be. What do? We work on our security. We work on our weaponry. We purchase more ammo. We purchase more guns. We purchase cameras. We purchase alarms. We set those up on properties, et cetera, et cetera. What's that called? That's called a solution to a problem, okay? And we can go on with a million other things. We gather skills. We learn how to do things. We are looking at a potential problem and coming up with a solution. What I saw in the clips from last night, everybody's that wants to be the leader of the free world, basically the most, I don't want to say the most important person, but the most powerful person in the world. And not a single one of them came up with solutions. Are there anybody talk about how to reduce the cost of food, reduce inflation? No. Anybody talk about securing the border? No. We have to do something. What's your plan? Okay. Just like people say on the prepper channels all the time. I mean, we need to do something. And my answer always is, what's your plan? Okay. It's looking for solutions. And this goes back to everything that I've said many, 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 many times. All of us are individuals. We all have different solutions to the problem. People ask about, could you do a video on, I had one yesterday. I mean, it's a good question, don't get me wrong, about setting up a greenhouse and how to grow. Yeah, I could, okay? But the only people that would be pertinent for are those that live in Zone 6B in maybe Eastern Kentucky, Eastern Tennessee, Southeastern Kentucky, Western North Carolina, in the general area. Because a setup that I do is not going to be the same that somebody's going to do in the deserts of Arizona or in the mountains of Colorado or in upstate Maine. I mean, different climates, different soils, different everything, okay? Greenhouses are great, but how you set them up, completely different, Whether you're saying, well, gee, you're going to trap the heat and everything like that. Yeah, you can, but how much sun? If it's 110 degrees like it was in the southeast all summer, the last thing you want to do is be trapping heat, okay? Or if it's really cold, you know, big difference. Do I need a heater? Do I not need a heater? You know, that sort of stuff. That's what I'm saying. Individual solutions. But out of these folks yesterday, I heard no solutions. Nothing. Heard a bunch of bitching, moaning, complaining, talking over each other. Like I said, an 8th grade cafeteria food fight. No substance whatsoever. We all need to look at solutions to our problems, whatever they would be. And I'll tell you this, a lot of you don't agree with solutions I have, my solutions. And that's totally cool, okay? Because what works for me may or may not work for you. Like I've always tried to do, I will give you suggestions on things that you can consider, and then you need to take it to the next level on how it's going to work from you. Hey, I could talk about putting an electric fence around my house, and hey, this is the greatest idea in the world. And you're going, yeah, big deal. I live in an apartment, right? Okay. The solution doesn't work. There is no one size fits all for everybody in anything. The way you spend your weekends. Do you worship on Saturday? Do you worship on Sunday? Do you not go at all? That's up to you. That's your solution, how you do things. And all these people that are trying to pigeonhole everybody. There's a great comment yesterday about the video I was talking about the food banks. And, you know, that I should stop trying to divide people. No. And as I said, real simple, you know, I don't like this pigeonholing of people. You know, just because one white person out there is a skinhead doesn't mean every white person's a skinhead. Just because one black kid is a gangbanger doesn't mean every black person's a gangbanger. That's how it works. But the media, the government, public, okay, I mean, it's forced upon you. You can all see this, how they're trying to create animosity amongst different people. Is you need to look at everybody differently. You know, everybody with a side glance. And I go back, I've used this reference before. Remember after 9/11, and everybody who was Muslim, Arabic descent of anything sort, the overwhelming majority of the American public looked at every one of them like they were a terrorist. Was that true? No. Okay. The same as not every white person's a skinhead, not every black person's a gangbanger, you know, whatever it would be, however you want to slice it, okay? You know, not every southerner's a hillbilly, not every northerner's a Yankee, you know, pick one, okay? However you want to look at it. But find solutions and stop the looking at the past, or stop the, gee, I'm just going to tell them what they want to hear stuff. These are the people that think they're going to be leaders of the country. Are you kidding me? You know, some of them might have a little bit of chance of going somewhere. I mean, Tim Scott, yeah, he's got a chance of going somewhere in the future. He's put his foot in his mouth and made some really bad comments and some bad decisions that I don't agree with, okay? I don't expect to agree with everybody. I don't agree with everything Donald Trump did, okay? I certainly don't agree with everything that went on with COVID that Trump was pushing, okay? That's my choice. But when I look at some of them and go, I can't agree with anything you talk about, and you're going to try to tell me you're a conservative, right? Okay. I mean, forget about Joe Biden. I mean, there's nothing I'll ever agree with him on, okay? The guy's just a complete moron. You know, any Democrat, you know, a Democrat mission is, how can I screw up this country more? You know, I'm sorry. I'm going to do whatever I can to get this country back to what it was originally intended to be, where we all can live together and prosper, where everybody has opportunity to go further. What you do with that opportunity, that's up to you. But this equity crap, you'll never hear me support that at all. Okay. The only thing I believe in equity in is hard work. He who works the hardest gets the benefits. You don't want to work, you don't get squat. Period. Well, am I willing to give somebody a hand up? Sure. Okay. Am I willing to take on somebody and support them for the rest of their life? No. You're able-bodied. You can get out there. I don't care if it's something as simple as picking up tin cans on the side of the road, pushing a lawnmower, delivering newspapers, do whatever. All things that I did as a kid. But, where are the solutions? Until somebody comes up and says, this is my plan and this is what I'm going to do. Not on the first day I'm going to repeal this. BFD, okay? Start laying out your plan. How are you going to get rid of 3 million plus illegals that have come across the border? Not over the next 10 years, over the next 10 weeks. Are you going to round up the Border Patrol, the Secret Service, whoever, everybody, and federal marshals and say, you know what? We're just doing a sweep through the country, and if you're not here legally, you're gone. And we're just going to start lining them up and putting them on buses back to Juarez or wherever, and just gone. End of story. DACA, done. Okay? No, you're not an American. You don't belong here. Go back to your country. End of story. Try going into any other country illegally. They aren't telling you, hey, come back in 6 years for your court appointment. They're going, there's your jail cell. You'll sit there until we can get you extradited out of our country. That's it. How are we going to fix this economy? It sure as hell ain't by paying UAW workers $137 an hour. Okay, that's not going to do it. How are we going to fix the Federal Reserve? Oh, I got a good idea. Put a lock on the door and say that's it. Okay, where are those kind of answers? We have a tendency to find them on our scale. But if you want to be the person that's going to start managing the biggest business in the world, the United States, you better have some solutions. Because if we can find them down on the bottom end of the ladder, and you want to be on the top end of the ladder, you better start learning from the little guy how things are done. Pinball out.